Good morning. Say good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Thumbs Up Thursday.
I was looking at my hair.
Oh my God. I'm supposed to be looking at your hair. You're supposed to be welcoming everybody. Good morning. We are so excited today. I don't know if you even know what you're getting yourself into. I don't even know if I'm talking to anybody right now. Do we have anybody on yet?
4 on.
4 on. Okay, very good.
Okay.
Share it, because this information that we're going to be giving to you today is going to be so valuable moving forward for you with your sewing machine, with your serger, with your embroidery machine, quilting machines, all of that. It's going to be very important to you. And the reason why I want to preface this is because I take in, and I'm also a technician, I receive in and do the diagnostics on, taking in your machine, checking in your machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you,
Amazing.
at least half of you have your needle in backwards. It's true. Or it's not all the way up. But the biggest problem is you don't have the right needle.
Yes.
And you don't have the best needle.
Yes.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm so excited. Eric, did you tell them who you were?
They know who I am. When I heard it was Schmetz needles, I'm like, I want to be in on that. I love them.
You love them, don't you? You know everything about them, don't you?
Well, I don't know. We'll find out today.
You're going to learn, aren't you? But you don't have this.
I do, but I have an old one.
Right.
There's new colors out now.
So you have to have the new one. Oh. Yeah, and so we're excited about it. But we're not going to steal Rhonda. Rhonda Pierce is here today. She is the face of Schmetz. And so she is going to give you Schmetz needle education. Schmetz has been around for a very long time. They have been the leader in the industry. So we're really excited to announce to you that we have rearranged our whole little needle section. And we have gone 100% with Schmetz. Okay, so we believe it's the best needle on the market. We don't have any problems with it. They have great marketing materials here as well that kind of explains what every single, look at me needles.
Education.
Look at how many needles. All their education, it really aligns with our business because, we're big into educating and teaching you so that you don't hit those frustration levels. And so we've gone all in with Schmetz. Robin has been working really hard everybody has, removing the old and putting in all the new, and we have all of the Schmetz needles in stock now. So I thought you might you might like that.
Out and with then the old, in with the new.
Yes. And then also, just listen in, because, there's going to be an opportunity for you to get some of these needles at some really good deals. Okay. So let's go ahead and first we want to announce real quick too, what's our preview party date?
June 14th.
June 14th. Mark your calendars right now for Saturday, June 14th. It's going to be from 10 to 12, and it's going to be a celebration. Okay.
Like always.
And Eric, you have a quilt that you brought in today.
I get to do a BOM.
He's going to do a new BOM, and it's beautiful. You won't believe it. It's really, really pretty. It starts in June, right?
I don't know. We haven't set the date
June or
yet,
July.
So this week I'll
get
the date.
So we don't have all the details, all the kits cut, but the quilt is made, and we're sending it off, and it's going to be just absolutely gorgeous once it's quilted as well. So anyway, we're excited, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to, don't forget, how many people do we have now?
26.
Okay, that's pretty good. Don't forget to make sure, if you're watching this live, we're going to give away a $50 gift card at the end. So we're going to give you a word at the end of the segment after you've listened to the presentation all the way through, because we want you to listen and learn, obviously. But secondly, because you've listened, we'd like to reward you with a $50 gift card, a chance to win a $50 gift card. So all you have to do is type in the magic word we're going to give you at the end, and you could win a $50 gift card that you could either use on our website, which, by the way, our website is amazing now. If anybody has been on our website lately, it's all redone. It's ready to go. It's launched. It's gorgeous.
You can sign up for my classes easy.
And you can buy Schmetz needles super easy. You can do all kinds of stuff on that website now. We're really proud of it. And so anyway, so I can't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, you can use that $50 gift card on there if you wanted to. Okay. So let's all get a chance to win, and let's get going with Miss Rhonda Pierce.
Hello, everyone. I'm delighted to be here. My name is Rhonda Pierce. I love to sew, I love to quilt, and I'm delighted to be here today. And today I'm here in my office here in the Chicago area where we're having spring weather with lots of allergies. So, do you want to make any other announcements, or should I just go forward?
I think I'm excited. You do this like when I go to conventions. You're a class that's offered that everybody says you've got to go take that class. So here we are having it right here at Authorized Vacuum Sew in Fresno. I'm excited. Okay. So just go ahead and go.
Let's get started. Now, I do have 3 goals. One is to elevate your respect for the hardest working 2-inch piece of steel in your sewing machine, the Schmetz needle. I'm hoping to remove any mystery you might have about the needle, like what do all those little numbers mean on your little Schmetz needle pack, and hopefully increase confidence in your needle selection. So my talk today is about 45 minutes. I have it broken into 3 different sections. First, I'll talk about some very basic things like the parts of the needle and the Schmetz color chart. And then I'll move along and I'll talk about specific needles for piecing and quilting, sewing with knits, etc. The third part is a mystery question. And I'm pretty sure it's a question that you've asked yourself. So let's go ahead and get started. So I always like to start with the parts of the needle. Now, this is my Schmetz Super Demo needle. It is 11 times the size of your regular needle and is anatomically correct. I like to start with the parts of the needle because I believe if you're aware of the parts of the needle and their function, it helps you make an informed decision as to what needle type and size to use. So let's look at the parts of the needle. Now, my needle's on a little wooden base for display purposes, but I think you can see at the very top of your needle is a beveled edge. This is referred to as the butt of the needle, and you might think, so what? What does a beveled edge mean to me? Well, stop and think about it. When you go to insert a new needle in your machine, you don't have a lot of wiggle room. So the top of the needle's beveled for easier insertion into your needle holder. Our home sewing machines require a flat shank. 98% of all of our home sewing machines require a flat shank, again, for perfect positioning into your needle holder. We have a little transitional area referred to as the shoulder of the needle. And I hope you've noticed that your Schmetz needles have either 1 or 2 bands of color. And we'll talk about the Schmetz color chart behind me shortly. We have the length of the needle, which is referred to as the blade of the needle. And the needle size is determined by the size of the blade. So Schmetz, being a German company, they use the metric system. They'll measure this area here of the blade, and they'll get a measurement like 0.70, 0.80, etc. They take that physical measurement times 100 to come up with the sizes that we're familiar with. So now that you know that Schmetz needle size is based on a physical measurement, it's easier to remember that a size 90 needle is larger than a size 70 needle. So I hope I've answered one of the questions you might have about your needles. Now, back to our blade. On the front of the blade, how many of you have noticed the groove? You can actually see and feel the groove on your little 2-inch piece of steel. But what's the purpose of the groove? The groove is going to cradle your thread so it moves evenly and smoothly down the length of the needle to the eye. When you're sewing, your thread should not be flip-flopping back and forth. It should move evenly and smoothly so you get a nice clean stitch. We have the point and the tip, and these change according to different needle types. And on the back side of your needle, how many of you have noticed this indentation above the eye? This is referred to as the scarf of the needle. And the scarf has a very important function. When your needle passes through your fabric and your throat plate, the bobbin hook has to come up and catch that top thread in order to create the stitch. So the bobbin hook needs passing room in order to create the stitch. So Erin, if you would go to the second slide there, I've got a nice diagram about the parts of the needle. So click to the, yep, there we go. Here are your basic parts to the needle. The butt, the shank, the shoulder, the blade, the groove, the point, the tip. And I haven't mentioned the eye yet, which is on the next slide. And I could click. So I consider the eye to be one of the most important features to your Schmetz needle. Your everyday needle, the universal needle. The eye is 40% the width of the blade. But look at the eye of the embroidery needle, and you can see that the eye is wider. And when you look at the eye of the top stitch in the metallic, oh, you can see that the eye is elongated. So when you're sewing, what does a larger eye mean to you? A larger eye means there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. So if you're sewing and your thread is breaking and shredding, what are you going to do? Well, if you just started your project, maybe you need to move up a needle size or change to a different needle type. So be prepared to change out your needle. Okay, click. So the next thing I want to talk about is the Schmetz color chart. I hope you've noticed that your Schmetz needles have either one or two bands of color. And today I want to make sure you're comfortable reading the Schmetz color chart. So on the left-hand side of the chart, the column is labeled needle type. And many of the Schmetz needle types are assigned a color. On the right-hand side of the chart, the column is labeled needle size. And each needle size is assigned a color. Now look at the needle between the two columns. The top color band identifies your needle type. So on this sample here, the top color band is yellow. So we look off to the left under needle type and we find yellow is a stretch needle. Back to the needle. The lower color band identifies your needle size. So on this sample here, the color band is kind of a rosy pink. So we look off to the right under needle size and we find that rosy pink is a size 7511. So this sample here is a stretch size 7511 needle. But let me walk you through a couple other examples. What if your needle has a top color band of purple and a lower color band of orange? What needle type and size would that be? Well, for a top color band of purple, we look off to the left under needle type and we find purple is a microtex needle. With a lower color band of orange, we look off to the right and we find orange is a size 8012. So a top color band of purple and a lower color band of orange is a microtex size 8012. One more example would be, what if your needle has a top color band of orange and a lower color band of orange? What needle type and size would that be? Well, we look off to the left and we find orange is a jersey needle. And to the right, we find orange is still a size 8012. So two bands of orange would be a jersey size 8012 needle. Now, there's one more thing I want to mention about the Schmetz color chart, and that's under needle type. And the very first needle listed is universal, and there's no color. In fact, the box is X'd out. So what does that mean? Universal needles have only one band of color. So, and that's to identify your needle size. So if you have a universal size 80-12 needle, you have just a single band of orange. If you have a universal size 90-14, you have a single band of blue. So I hope this chart helps you identify your needles, especially after you've taken them out of your needle package. And the 2 bands of color were instituted in 2014, so you can kind of date some of your needles. Okay, click. Next, I want to look at the information that's on your little Schmetz needle pack. There's a lot of information here, and I want to make sure you're just comfortable with all the numbers and information. So, at the very bottom of your Schmetz needle pack currently is the needle size. Or on this sample here, we have assorted sizes, 70-10, 80-12, and 90-14. And I think most everyone recognizes needle sizes. But how many of you looked at that number above the size and wondered, what the heck does 130-705H mean? Click. 130/705 is referred to as the needle system. You might think of it as a model number. 130/705 means that the needle has a flat shank. And the H translates from a German word that means scarf. So needle system 130-705H is a flat shank needle with a scarf that we use in 98% of all of our home sewing machines. So don't be intimidated by that number, but it is an important number to know. And let me just ask, how many of you have sergers? On some of your sergers, you can use a 130-705H, but on some of your serger and overlock machines, you might use an ELX 705, and that's a different needle system to this here. If you have a long arm machine, you might use a different needle system. Some long arms, especially with Bernina, can use a regular home sewing machine needle, 130-705H, while other long arm machines require a different needle system, such as 206X13, or maybe 134R, or 135X5, or 135X17. So if you have a long arm machine, you need to know what needle system to use. But again, for our home sewing machines, most of our machines use needle system 130-705H, which is a flat shank needle with a scarf. So don't be afraid of that number. Okay, click. So above the needle system, you find the needle type spelled out. So these are universal needles. Click. Above that, you find the Schmetz name, and above that, through the clear packaging, you can see the color bands. So on this sample here, first of all, we learned universal needles have only one band of color, and that's to identify your needle size. So on this sample here, the 2 needles on the left-hand side have that single band of green. Green for size 70-10. The next 2 needles to the right have that single band of orange for size 80-12. And the needle on the far right has that single band of blue for size 90-14. So lots of information here. Click. But let's look at one other needle pack. So again, currently at the bottom of your needle pack, you find the needle size. So these are size 90-14. Above that, you find the needle system 130-705H. So we know that this is a flat shank needle with a scarf that we can use in most of our home sewing machines. But look at that needle system line just a little bit closer, because on this sample, there's an additional letter, a -E, E for embroidery. On some of your other needle packs, you might find a -Q for quilting, or J for jeans, or M for microtext, etc. Above the needle system, you find the needle type spelled out. So these are embroidery needles. And even today, sometimes you'll still see the German word for needle. Above that is the Schmetz name, and above that, through the clear packaging, you can see the color bands. So referencing our Schmetz color chart, when the top color band is red, red for embroidery. And on this sample here, the lower color band is blue for size 9014. So if you stop and think about it, there's not only a lot of information, but there's a lot of redundant information between the needle and your Schmetz needle pack. So I hope this helps you identify your needles, and also makes reading the needle package even easier. Okay, so before I scoot along, click. Are there any questions? If you've got a question, you can go ahead and just put those in the chat, and I'll try to answer either now or later. So I think right now I'm just going to scoot along, and I want to ask you, what do you think the most popular needle type is? And I bet most of you know or would guess, click, that the universal needle is the most popular needle type. So why is that? Well, the universal needle has a slightly rounded point. So it works well on your woven fabrics. It works well on your knit fabrics. So lots of uses for your universal needle. It's a good, steady needle. When I look at our sales reports, and also when I do general surveys, universal size 8012 is the most popular needle type and size, followed by universal size 9014. So no matter what kind of sewing, piecing, quilting, crafting you like to do, I always suggest you have universal 8012 and 9014 in your stash to either use or to have as backup. And I'll also just mention that the universal needle is also available in the widest range of sizes, from the smallest size 60 all the way up to a size 120. Plus, universal needles are available in twin and triple needles too. So lots of universal needles are available. Click. So next I want to move on to specific needles for different types of sewing. So let's first talk about piecing and quilting. Click. There are 5 popular needle types for piecing and for quilting. And guess what? Universal needle is frequently used. Even lots of famous quilters like to use the universal for piecing and for quilting. So if you're writing notes here today for piecing and quilting, the first needle you're going to write down is the universal needle. But I always like to say with Schmetz, you have options. So let's look at 4 other options. Click. Another popular needle for piecing and quilting is the jeans needle, also known as the denim needle. Does that surprise you? Well, how many of you like to make denim quilts, flannel quilts, or heavy-duty raggy quilts? And when you're making those items, you need a hardy needle. So what's so special about the jeans needle? The jeans needle has a reinforced blade or an optimized blade. So when the needle passes through your denser or heavier or your layers of fabrics, there's less needle deflection, less movement of the needle, so you get a cleaner stitch. So the jeans needle is a great needle to use when you're making denim quilts, flannel quilts, or those heavy-duty raggy quilts. And I'll also just mention, if you like to make those popular coiled bowls, this is your needle of choice, the jeans needle. Click. Another needle popular for piecing and quilting is the top stitch needle. And if you remember that diagram about the eyes of the needle, the top stitch needle has that elongated eye. So there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. And like the universal needle, the top stitch needle has a slightly rounded point. The top stitch needle. Click. Another needle popular for piecing and quilting is the quilting needle, just as the name suggests. But you can use this needle for piecing too. This needle was specifically engineered for piecing and for quilting. It has a special tapered point. A special tapered point to easily slide through your piecing or your quilted project. This needle comes in 2 sizes. Size 7511 you'll probably use for the piecing of your project, and the larger size 9014 for the quilting of your project. So the quilting needle for both piecing and for quilting. Click. Another needle popular for piecing and quilting is the microtex needle, and this is my personal favorite. The microtex, the generic name for microtex, is a sharp needle. So when your books and patterns say use a sharp needle, well, they're referring to a Schmetz microtex needle. This needle has a very slim acute point. Very slim acute point. So with the microtex needle, you get the most precise stitches. And because the microtex has that very slim acute point, guess what? It's going to dull quicker than any other needle type. So be prepared to change out your microtex more frequently than any other needle type. The other thing I want to mention about microtex is how many of you like to sew, piece, or quilt with batik fabrics. I love batik fabrics. And even if you pre-wash your batik fabrics, oftentimes they'll still be tightly woven and can still have dye residue. And that microtex can just stitch beautifully through your batik fabrics. So let's look. Oh, click. 5 popular needle types for piecing and quilting. We've got the workhorse of all needle types, the universal needle, also available in the largest range of sizes. We have the jeans needle, specific with that optimized blade. Use this on your denim quilts, flannel quilts, and those heavy-duty raggy quilts. The top stitch needle with that elongated eye, so there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. The quilting needle, specifically designed for piecing and quilting. You'll probably use the smaller size 7511 for the piecing of your project and the larger size 9014 for the quilting of your project. And last but not least is the microtex. Generically known as a sharp needle. Use this needle when you're working with batiks, and use this needle when you're looking for precision stitches. And guess what? Authorized Vac and Sew has these already bundled up for you. So 1 pack of each of these 5 needles with the ever popular Schmetz ABC Pocket Guide, which is the foundation to today's class. And the bundle includes the Schmetz color chart on a laminated luggage tag that you can attach to your machine. You can hang on the bulletin board on your in your sewing room, or I travel with my luggage tag. And I have to say, I meet the nicest people when I travel because they notice that Schmetz color chart. So I know that Authorized Sew and Vac has these available for you. So you can go to their website or call or go into their store. Okay, well, let's scoot along, click, and let's talk about some other needles. Sewing with knits. How many of you sew with knits? How many of you remember double polyester? When I first learned to sew, it was with double polyester. But you know what? Today, there are beautiful knits that are available. And part of the success of sewing with knits is using the appropriate needle. So there are two needle types you must have when you're sewing with knits. Click. The first needle is the jersey needle, generically known as a ballpoint needle. The jersey needle has a medium ballpoint. Click. The next needle that you need in your stash when sewing with knits is the stretch needle. And guess what? The stretch needle also has a medium ballpoint. But when you compare the jersey to the stretch needle has a smaller eye and a deeper scarf. So what's that mean? The stretch needle is going to play a little bit differently with your needle, your thread, your fabric, and your machine and technique. So if you're sewing with knits, how do you know? Do you use a jersey or a stretch needle? Well, there's a rule of thumb that works about 80% of the time. If you're working with just a regular knit fabric, use the jersey needle. But if your knit fabric has lycra, spandex, or elastic, and most of our knit fabrics do today, use the stretch needle. Sometimes stretch and jersey are interchangeable, but not always. So I always suggest that you have both on hand. So again, the rule of thumb is if your knit fabric has lycra, spandex, or elastic, use the stretch needle. If it's just a regular knit, use the jersey. Click. So these needles are readily available. They are bundled up, the Sewing with Knits bundle with the ABC Pocket Guide and the Schmetz color chart. So both the stretch and the jersey needles are available in assorted sizes. So just let Authorized Vac and Sew know that you want this bundle. Okay, fantastic. I see Francis needs this bundle. I see Leah loves this information. Jesse wants a bundle too. So go ahead and just put that in the chat. Okay, click. Let's move on to another category of needles. Now, these needles were introduced right before the pandemic. So if you don't know about them, I'm glad you're here today. Click. So this needle, again, is one of the newer needles. And the first thing you're going to notice about the Schmetz Super Nonstick Super Universal Needle is the color. They're kind of a gunmetal color or charcoal gray. And what is that? It's an anti-adhesive coating. I can't use that T word that we find in our pots and pans in the kitchen, but that's what it is, an anti-adhesive coating. But this needle has two other special characteristics. It has an optimized blade. So what's that mean? So when you're stitching fast, there's less needle deflection, less movement of the needle when you're making your stitch. This needle also has an enlarged eye. So there's less stress on your thread when it's passing through the eye of the needle. So 3 great characteristics to the Super Nonstick Super Universal Needle. When are you going to use it? Well, how many of you like to do machine embroidery or machine applique? This is a great needle to use because oftentimes when you're working on those projects, you're working with a sticky stabilizer. What happens? You're sewing so fast that stabilizer, the adhesive, has a tendency to get warm and gum up your needle. So this is a super needle to use when you're doing machine embroidery and machine applique. How many of you like to sew on oilcloth or splash fabric? This is a great needle to use. And what about vinyl? Don't we all sew on vinyl every once in a while? And what happens when you sew on vinyl? The vinyl gets warm and has a tendency to hug your needle, and then you can't see where you're sewing. So use the Super Nonstick Super Universal when you're sewing on vinyl. And last but not least, when you're working with hoop and loop tape, also known as Velcro, which I always say is an odd fabrication. It's sticky on one side, crispy on another, and kind of fuzzy in between. And the super nonstick, super universal can just stitch through all those fabrications. Click. So this needle comes in 4 sizes, sizes 70, 80, 90, and 100. So again, they're fantastic for machine embroidery, machine applique. Anytime you're working with a fusible or maybe a spray adhesive, or maybe you're working through working with vinyls, or maybe you're making heavier tote bags or canvas bags or purses, this would be a great needle to use. So these are bundled up, 1 pack of each different size. The Schmetz ABC Pocket Guide, and again, that laminated color chart on a luggage tag. So just let authorized vacants know that you want these needles. Okay, click. One more category of needles. And how many of you like to do machine embroidery? So let's look at 3 different needle types popular for machine embroidery. And the first is our classic embroidery needle. This needle has a chrome finish and it has an enlarged eye. So there's less stress on your thread as it's passing through the eye of the needle. Click. The embroidery needle also is available in titanium. And titanium gives the embroidery needle extra strength and helps to keep the needle a little bit cooler. So, like the classic embroidery needle, both the classic and the Schmetz gold titanium needle both come in 2 sizes. The smaller size 7511 and the larger size 9014. And that leaves one other needle popular for machine embroidery, and we already talked about it, and that's the super nonstick, super universal with that anti-adhesive coating. Available in 4 sizes, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Click. So 3 needle types popular for machine embroidery. You've got the classic embroidery needle with the chrome finish, the embroidery gold needle with the titanium. Both needles have an enlarged eye. And the Schmetz super nonstick, super universal, also with that in
Oh, it's dead.
No, you're on.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I'm talking away. Okay.
We're gonna keep it a minute until she gets back on.
Yeah, we had some technical difficulties. You guys have probably figured it out, but I can answer some of the questions probably. We have the bundles. We have these in store. And of course, we have all the needles. We've got a whole end cap full of needles right now. We won't talk about pricing yet, so don't anybody ask until the end. And then we have these wonderful little booklets. And are we selling these?
I believe they're
I don't remember.
they're part of the bundle, and I think
It comes with the bundle?
There might be a few that we
Yeah. Got a full.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. Can y'all hear me now? Maureen, can you hear me? Jesse, check, check. Did everybody hear that we do have these little bundles in store? And so come in and see me today. Here's Veronica. I stole her microphone so we could share. Look,
Where is Rhonda?
she lost.
I think her signal went down, or because she just like it went black,
Vanished.
and then she vanished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Improv.
Did we finish?
No.
She got through all 4 bundles, but we haven't. I don't know if there was anything else on her slideshow.
Because that wasn't 45 minutes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. She might pop back on again, but
Yeah, that's-
meanwhile, we have some information to tell them, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's excited about these needles. I'm excited too. So, did we pop on the price of the bundles?
No, we can do that.
Oh,
now.
let's do that.
Okay. So
Yeah.
the first one is machine embroidery.
Okay, the machine embroidery
This
needle.
one.
Okay, so they'll all come with this little card,
Mhm.
right?
The color coding card, which is amazing.
Color coding card. So that always tells you'll never ever wonder what needle do I have
Yeah.
in here.
You
Okay.
drop it on the floor. Guess what, Schmidt? You can just look at the color on the needle and you know where that needle goes.
Yes. Okay. So this one, the machine embroidery needle, you'd have all of the different needles for your machine embroidery is $22.99. That's including that super non-stick,
Yeah.
which is I can't wait to try that. I have
It
never
looks
tried
like
it before.
gunmetal. I'm looking at it. It looks like a gunmetal gray. It's really cool.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it not sticking. I would think even just like for the perfect stick and all
We
of
should
that.
try one on the floor.
We will.
You guys want to come in and
We
try
will
one?
come in and try it. Okay. So then we also have the piecing and quilting bundle.
Mhm.
That one that's got a little bit more in it, and it's $30.99. Now, when you buy these bundles, you're buying them, you're getting the cards, you're getting the little booklet, and they're also discounted because you're buying them in bundle pricing. So you can purchase that. Will this be in the store and on the website? Yes, Francis, it's on both.
Come see me, Francis.
Yeah, it's in the store and it's on the website. So you could call us, or you could go click on our website,
Yeah.
click on the link. Do they have a link already?
Yeah.
Oh, is Rhonda back?
Oh, did we get Rhonda?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell Rhonda we've been doing a little song and dance.
We've been over here entertaining.
Okay.
Yay!
Don't tell us it's karaoke.
Okay, Rhonda, welcome back.
Oh my God, my computer crashed, but I brought it back up.
Oh.
So, well, sorry about that, everybody.
That's okay. We started telling them about the bundles and the pricing.
Okay,
So we
good.
got through the embroidery bundle, and then we got through the piecing bundle. So keep going.
Okay, well,
Where'd
you
you
know
go?
what? It's a perfect time. You know what? Let me just talk a little bit. Okay, so there's the bundle, and just let authorized vac and sew know that you want these. Click. Okay, click.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So, you know what? I give a lot of Schmetz presentations. And what do you think the most popular question is? And you know what? Somebody did ask it early on in the presentation. And the question is, how long does a needle last? Click. And I'm going to say, here's the easy answer. They don't last forever. Click. And when you're sewing, your needles should never, ever look like these. These are really nasty looking needles. That needle on the left-hand side looks like it has twin mountain peaks. The needle on the far right looks like a cutting blade. So what are these nasty needles going to do to your beautiful, expensive fabrics? They're just going to eat up your fabric. So what are you going to do? Click, change out the needle. Changing out the needle, it's a simple repair that you can do at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. That seems to be when I do most of my sewing.
Oh my God.
Click. Okay, so this is one of my favorite slides in today's presentation because this is the same needle in every frame. But when you look at it with your naked eye on the left-hand side, it looks sharp. But this needle has been overused. With increased magnification as we move to the right, you can see, oh, that needle really is dull. And look at that super lip and all those burrs and striations. So what's that nasty needle going to do to your fabrics? It's just going to eat up your fabric. So what are you going to do? Change out the needle. Click. So, yep, needles do get dull with use. Click. So now you can show my face. So how long does a needle last? I'm going to say, I don't know. Yeah, you can show my face now, and we'll come back to the slides.
Okay.
I'm going to say, I don't know how long a needle lasts. It could be 3 seconds if you hit a pin. And I know when you hit a pin, your first thought is, oh my goodness, I just bent the needle. And maybe you did. But I guarantee if you just hit a pin, what you did is just compromise the point and the tip. So what are you going to do? Change out the needle. Maybe you can get 20 hours of sewing time if you don't push or pull your fabric underneath the foot. So 3 seconds, 20 hours, well, that's quite the time range, right? And I know people like to say, oh, I change my needle every 6 to 8 hours of sewing time. Really? Do you time yourself? Because I know it's impossible to time yourself. So rather than ask how long does a needle last, what I want you to do is reframe that question. Reframe it to, what are the clues to changing the needle while you're sewing? So what are the clues? Well, we kind of touched upon one clue already, and that's when your thread is breaking and shredding. What you may not know is if you're not changing your needle frequently enough, the thread will actually wear a groove in the eye of the needle. And what's that going to do? Break and shred your thread. So what are you going to do? Change out the needle. What's another clue while you're sewing? What's happening to your fabric? Is the needle snagging your fabric? Is the fabric puckering? Or in a severe case, the needle hits your fabric and tucks the fabric into your throat plate. Hello, that's a clue that you need to change out the needle. When you're sewing, what's happening to your stitches? Are your stitches skipping? Are your seams uneven? Or maybe you're sitting at your machine and you're saying, well, I'm sewing in a straight line. How come my stitches look kind of wiggly squiggly? Guess what? You need to change out your needle.
Change your needle.
Yes, change your needle. And there's one other clue. Hopefully, when you're sewing, you're in that bubble. All is right in my sewing world. My machine is humming along. And then you start to hear that little click, click, clicking sound. And what is it? Oh, it's your needle saying, hey, I've been working hard here. Change me. If you ignore the clicking, guess what? It graduates to a pop, pop, popping sound. Now your needle is yelling at you. Change me. Change me. And if you ignore the clicking and the popping, what's happening now? Clunk, clunk, clunk. And what's your first inclination? Oh my goodness, something's wrong with my machine. And even if you take your machine in to the tech, what's the first thing the tech's going to ask? Hey, when's the last time you changed your needle? So let me save you the time, the money, and the energy and just change out the needle. Now, let's just stop and think about something. You've spent a lot of money on your machine or your machines, right? How many of you have more than one or two machines? Okay, you've spent a lot of money on collecting all those beautiful fabrics, including the secret fabric stashes. I know how it is. And I'm guessing you've collected all those beautiful threads And you've probably spent money on books and patterns, retreats, workshops, lectures, etc. And then let's not forget, your sewing time is an investment too. So what are we going to do here? We're going to take that entire investment cycle from your machine to the fabric, to the thread, to the time, right down to the hardest working 2-inch piece of steel in your machine, which is also the least expensive part to your machine, and just change out the needle. So today, I'm not here just to sell you more needles, but I really want you to have a wonderful sewing experience. And yes, that does include changing out the needle. So I hope you find that helpful. Now, I know that in the real world, oftentimes we juggle projects, right? Maybe you're working on a quilt. Now you're going to make a little t-shirt for a kiddo, so you're using a different needle type and size. You finish that project and you come back to your quilt and you think, right before I changed projects, I put in a fresh needle. How do you know that that slightly used needle is still sewing worthy? What are you going to do? Well, here's a little tip for you. You can take that slightly used needle and run it across your fingernail. And if it leaves a scratch on your nail, guess what? You've got a burr and you need to toss that needle. Or if you've got a pair of old hose, and I like to say, since COVID, I am never wearing pantyhose again. So take a pair of old hose, or maybe you've got some jersey fabric swatch, run the needle across your fabric, and if it snags, you know that needle is not sewing worthy and you just need to toss it. If you have a little collection of slightly used needles, how do you keep track of them? I know some people like to put them upside down and backwards in the Schmetz needle pack. I don't find that helpful. Sometimes you just set it off to the side and then you lose track. But we've got a great little product here called the Grab It My Pad Needle Organizer. And this is a great way to organize your slightly used needles. What is it? It's an extra thick piece of felt. And during COVID, I updated it. So using the Schmetz color chart, the needles are color coded. So red for embroidery, purple for microtext, etc. And then for each needle type, there's a cell for each of the different needle sizes. So for your slightly used needles, you just slide it into the appropriate needle type and size. It comes with a little flower head pin. Because how many of you have some older Schmetz needles? Maybe you inherited them from mom or grandma, and they don't have the color codes. But you've taken care of those needles. They weren't exposed to dust or moisture, so they're still sewing worthy. Use that needle, and when you take it out of the pack to put it in your machine, use this little flower head pin to identify the needle currently in your machine. So I'm just going to slide it here into embroidery 9014. So now you don't have to rely on your memory. So yes, Authorized Vac and Sew has these for you. Click. Let's go to the slide, and there's a better picture of the Grab It My Pad. Many of you are familiar with Grab It magnetic pin cushions, and I'll tell you, I like those products so much that 10 years ago we bought the Grab It Sewing Tool Company. So the Grab It My Pad is my most recent update. So you can find this from Authorized Vac and Sew. Okay, so just let them know that you want this My Pad. I keep mine just leaning against my light source right next to my my sewing machine. So, okay, let's scoot along. Click. And let's talk about where you're going to buy your needles. Oh, yes. Some of you have already said you're going to buy your needles here at Authorized Vac and Sew. You've put it in the chat. Maybe you checked out their website, or you're in the store. You can get those Schmetz bundles. And there's a wide variety of Schmetz needles that are now available at authorized vac and sew. So support your local dealer. Click. Now, I'm going to take you to schmetzneedles.com, which is our consumer site, because there is lots of free information that you will find helpful. When you go to schmetzneedles.com, this is what you're going to see. Take note of where that red star is, right there at resources. And I also want you to take a look at those 5 needles. Can you identify the needles by the color bands? Well, I've mentioned probably more than once that Microtex 8012 is my favorite needle, so I've got it front and center right there on the left-hand side. So later, after class, you can challenge yourself to see if you can identify the other 4 needles. Click. When you scroll down on our website, you find what needle am I? Well, when you get the Schmetz needle bundle, which includes the ABC Pocket Guide, you find that circle of needles on the cover of the ABC Pocket Guide. Take a look at the points and the tips and the eyes. And sometimes the differences are ever so slight, but powerful. So right here on the website, each of the different needle types are identified. So you can kind of quiz yourself. To the right, oh, there's that red star again. It says, click here for the free web app. Click. What's that mean? Oh, if you can't wait to get your hands on the Schmetz ABC Pocket Guide, you can download it into your phone. Right there where that little red star is, it says Schmetz web-based app. And go ahead and click. And doesn't matter if you have an iPhone, an Android, a Google phone, it works because it's web-based, it downloads in all of our different phones. So the ABC Pocket Guide, you can just download right into your phone, and I'll walk you through the print version shortly. In the app, there are over 100 fabrics that are alphabetically listed with recommendations for needle type and size. So if you've been curious, oh, yeah, I've been wanting to sew on cork or bamboo, but you didn't know what needle to use, hey, look it up in the app or the ABC Pocket Guide. The Schmetz color chart is there. Click. And also, we have links to some of the popular thread companies with their recommendations for needle type and size, according to their different thread types. So lots of free information here. Click. So you can download the app in your phone. Again, it doesn't end on your laptop and also onto your regular computer. Click. So let me just wrap up. My name is Rhonda Pierce. I love to sew, I love to quilt, and I represent Schmetz home sewing machine needles in North America. I do have a personal website called sewmorestitches.com. I'm not selling anything there, but if you've been curious as to what kind of sewing, piecing, quilting I've done over the past few years and some of my travels too, you could click 2020 sewing, 2023 sewing, and see some of the things. So click. And I'll be right up front with you. I've been traveling so much, click, that I haven't really updated so much. Okay, so this ends my PowerPoint slides. And I want to thank each of you for being here today. And I want to thank Authorized Vac and Sew for having me here today. And they've got all those Schmetz bundles. You'll want to get your hands on those because, am I correct, that's a special price for just today and tomorrow? Or is it a longer time frame? Can't hear.
Wait from this Thursday until next Thursday.
Okay, so
Did you hear that?
I did, yes.
Okay,
get your
good.
Schmetz bundles ordered before Thursday of next week.
But the cool thing is too, is that because we just ordered in all, I don't know if you heard this earlier, but because we just ordered in all of the Schmetz needles and we just did a whole new display, we're still finishing it up this morning. but we are going to offer 25% off from today on our website all the way through next Thursday. Oh, there's Robin doing her Thursday to Thursday on our new Schmetz needles. Yeah. So that's almost all done. As you can see, you can get 25% off. Now, if you go on the website, okay, if you go on the website, you're not going to see 25% off. This is like a secret for Thumbs Up Thursday people. For watching Thumbs Up Thursday, all you do is you'll see all the needles. They're all up there now. And then you're just going to add them to cart. And that's when it's going to give you the 25% off. We're not advertising that we're doing that, except for right here. So this was a good thing that you watched this today. And so you can take advantage of the deal.
Yeah.
Now the bundles are already discounted. Okay. So they are the price. All right. Can we put up the, someone was asking earlier about the MyPad.
Oh, okay.
MyPad.
You want to put
We the overlay. Yeah, we're putting that up as an overlay because they were asking if that was included with the bundle, and it is not, but it's on a special sale price of $17.99 today as well. So you can order that. We don't have that in stock, but you can order it online, or you can order it our store special order it and still get that special pricing on that. And you're also supporting your favorite local dealer.
Yay.
Your favorite. Okay. So anyway, we had some good questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get some right now. There was one that was answered, I believe. How can you tell when the needle needs to change?
Yeah, that was a great
Yeah.
question too.
Click,
I think
click,
you really covered that.
thump.
I think Gay was also asking about skip stitches, and there you go.
So in the little Schmetz ABC pocket guide, page 11 is the most important page. Why? Because it's got clues to change the needle with a nasty looking needle. So the clues that I gave you earlier are listed right here. So this is the ABC pocket guide. This is not just promotional marketing stuff, but this is really everything you need to know about your needles. So we have an index, so you can look up the different types of needles. We've got information on the different needle points and what needles have different needle points. Here's this diagram about the eyes of the needle, so you don't have to remember that the top stitch in the metallic have that elongated eye. It's a nice right here. And the color chart is here. And then also we photographed all the different Schmetz needle types with specific information, specific
I love that.
characteristics,
I mean,
color
Yeah.
codes, etc. Then at the
this
back,
has a lot of information.
a lot of free information. The back inside cover, there's about 70 plus fabrics that are listed alphabetically for needle type and size recommendations. But again,
Nice, huh?
in the app, there's even more information
Yeah.
there. So you'll want to get the print copy and also download the app.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Absolutely amazing. We have these here as well too, so you don't have to print it on your printer, because I would just this is just such a great piece to have in your sewing studio.
Put
That's
it in
for
your
sure.
purse. It's small enough.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
So did we cover all of the overlays that we had on the bundles?
We have not.
What's the other what's the there? I know we did two. What were the other two?
So we got super nonstick bundle.
Super nonstick.
Oh, with all the sizes.
I would have to have that.
Yeah.
$32.99. That would cover all the sizes. Perfect. And the little ABC pocketbook and the
Mhm.
tag as well. Okay, great. And then what's the other one? Oh,
Sewing
sewing
and
on knits.
Yeah.
Here's for our garment sewers.
Yeah.
I mean, and these would be good to even use in your serger if you don't take a specialty needle. But I know that Schmetz has their own specialty serger needles if you do. So so we'll have those in stock as well too. But a lot of the sergers you can put in a ballpoint or you can put in a
regular
stretch.
needle. Yeah.
And
And
it's a big deal.
the other thing I'll just mention, Mother's Day is coming up.
Oh.
So these are great little gifty items, no matter what time of
heck
year
yeah.
it is, but especially now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I keep hearing, change your needle, change your needle. I grew up in the sewing machine business. I've been doing this my entire life. And I don't know why, but I don't know what it is about a needle, about people trying to preserve the needle.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I mean, I could understand if you used it like just like, a little, and then you just, you want to put it on your pad, but like it's the least expensive repair that you can do to your machine. I mean, it
And
really is. It's
it's
just, and I want to say too, did you ever talk about disposing your needles?
Oh, I can. But you know what? Changing the needle is also the easiest way to elevate your stitches.
Oh,
yeah.
Your
totally.
needle's
Get the
been
best stitch
dull.
quality.
Yeah,
Absolutely. So
absolutely.
we have a way of disposing here. Do you have a recommendation on how to dispose your needle?
Oh, no special way. I'll tell you what, this quilt that's hanging behind me that is hung with Schmetz needles.
Oh my gosh, I have done.
So what I do
This
is I
great
take
Yeah.
used needles, they've been used, and I'll put them across the top of the wall, and then I use those black paper clip binding clips. So I'll clip my quilt, and then the little silver clip I hang on the needle. So in my home I have
That's how I
12
used to hang
quilts,
'em in my
and they're all
bathroom.
hung with Schmetz needles.
That's great. And so they're strong enough to do that.
Oh,
So you
yeah.
can, for
Yeah.
sure. Well, we have actually it's a little red box that if you ever
A Sharps.
want to know, it's a Sharps
container.
Sharps container.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, because the guys, in the technicians tech department, they're all, first thing they do when they repair your machine, first thing they do is take out your needle and they throw it in that little box. So it is safe. And that's something that we do here at Authorized Vac. And so we don't just throw them in the trash
Put the
can.
rotary blades in there too.
Yes, the rotary
Yeah.
blades are a good thing as well too. So anyway, if you'd like any more information about it, I don't know where we got them from. I think Uline or someplace.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
The drugstores have them too. Diabetic needle kind of
oh
thing.
yeah.
It's a Sharps container.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah,
I had never seen them before.
I just use an Altoid 10. And so the heavier it gets is like a badge of honor.
Yeah. Medicine bottles.
Yeah. And I'll also say, if you are throwing just a single needle away, I would suggest that you thread it through a piece of corrugated cardboard, just so, as somebody else is picking up the trash, that they don't get poked. So
Good idea. I figured you had some little tip up there. So anyway, well, what we says, I put my used medicine bottle until I take them to dispose them later. Good job, Ellen. Hi, Ellen. And then we had some other questions. What were the other questions?
I think most of them got answered.
I also saw Ellen put a post as well, which I thought was a great post, is using good needles, using the correct needles.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with Schmetz, I guarantee you. It also doesn't mess up your machine. I mean, I see people trying to put in their old Singer needles or generic needles or whatever they are. And I'm just telling you, it's not worth it. Just put in the right needle, put it in correctly, and you will get the best stitch quality that way. And you're just happy sewing. That's what we want.
I'll just also add that last month I was at Schmetz, Germany, and toured a new testing facility. And let me just say, I've always held Schmetz in high regard, but it's even higher now because the personnel are just so detailed and wonderful. And all of that equipment is just, it's unbelievable, all the work that goes into making a little needle. And actually it takes up to 12 weeks to make a Schmetz needle. So when you consider capital equipment that goes into making the needle and the time, it's remarkable.
It is. And also it aligns with our business model, Rhonda. We're really into education and letting people get the best experience out of their investment. And Schmetz really spoke to me because of you. I love when a manufacturer doesn't just sell a product, but they also educate you on the product. And that's our business model as well here. So it just aligned with us. And that's why I got rid of all of my other needles, except for a few that they need, that you don't make for other machines. But then I have 99% all Schmetz needles. So
Fantastic.
I hope you guys will follow suit.
let me just say to your customers, you couldn't have a better dealer. So you need to get your Schmetz needles, your machines, and all of your sewing accessories and products right there. So support your local dealer. So thank
Please.
you for inviting me here today. And I look forward to seeing you next week in Chicago at the H&H America show.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, I'll be in Chicago. I will make sure I come to your booth for sure.
Yes, we'll have our
Okay.
picture taken.
Okay,
Okay,
cool,
everybody.
thanks.
Thank you. So Schmetz,
Thank
everybody.
you so much. Don't leave. We're going to do our $50 drawing right here.
Where's
What
the
is,
where's the wheel?
What's the word?
I was thinking,
Okay. All right, we're going to make this real easy for you. If you want to win a $50 gift card, all you have to do is type in the word
Needles?
needle.
Oh, needle.
One
Plural.
needle.
One. Singular.
Needle. We're going to make it easy.
Needle.
Capital N EEDLE. Needle. Very simple word that just makes your life so much easier. Okay, so we are doing our drawing now. Don't forget about our preview party.
Mhm. You know how many needles
do
I
you know
went
we're
through doing that quilt?
Do you know we're celebrating 50 years this year in business? 50 years in business. Mhm.
That's right, because I was born in 74 is 75. Yeah.
Mhm. We're going to have a huge party in July. Is it July?
Mhm.
Yep. Mark your calendars for that one too. Yeah.
back to back.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a party. So 50 years is a long time. So originally this
Wow.
wasn't my business. This
Mhm.
started out as my husband's, Ralph's dad's business.
I remember.
Yeah. He was selling vacuum cleaners.
I was little. Mom would take me down there when he had sewing machines too.
He even had a little store in Tower.
Now that one I don't
Believe it or
remember.
not. Yeah.
I
So
remember
anyway,
him down
yeah.
here.
And it's just continued to grow and grow. And Ralph and I have kind of made it our own, but
Yeah.
we've been in the business a long time and we're going to celebrate. I mean, 50 years is a long time
That's
to stay in
crazy.
business. Yeah. So how many needle entries do we have?
53. We have
Oh,
57
wow.
on, so
Okay,
pretty much-
53.
We got to get to 100 people online. Don't we go up to a $100 card?
Yeah, if we get to 100 viewers,
People
we're going to go up
need
to
to-
$100 gift card. So
We need to get
if
better
y'all
about
share
sharing.
these,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you share it on your page?
I'm always here
I know, but do you share it on your Facebook page?
after.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I'm not
So
good
it-
with tech.
Even if you're watching this later,
Oh,
even
yeah.
if you see this later, if you would just share it,
Duh.
this is awesome information. And then also it continues to let people know about our store and our Thumbs Up Thursday. All right, we're going to do the drawing. We're at 54. We got our
Mhm.
last needle in. I'm going to give you one more second. Leah, I think you're the
58.
last one.
59 people
59
watching.
people
Look at-
watch. Oh, Sherry C just got in. Leah, you're in.
Come on, a few more entries. Type.
Congrats on your business anniversary. Thank you, Rosemary. Veronica, you have brought.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis. With y'all's help, too. Okay, let's go. You ready? Who's going to win?
da, 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 da. Come on, come on, come on.
Ooh, I see. Oh, look at all these. Maria.
Marie. We know her.
Congratulations. You won
Yay.
another $50 gift card. She's won before.
Has she?
Yeah.
I wonder if she's going to buy embroidery thread.
Embroidery thread. She knows she can buy Schmetz needles.
Well, she always has so much thread she buys.
All right, well, listen, Eric, thank you for joining me on this. I know
Yeah.
he was so excited to do the Schmetz needles. When he heard that, he was like, I really want to do that Thumbs Up Thursday. I want to learn more.
I
So,
love it.
yes, I'm really hoping you learned today. And come get your needles.
Yeah.
Come get them. Come get
The
them on the
booklets,
bundles,
the
the booklets, the
needles.
little pad.
Mhm.
You know, because I know you guys, you even though I'm telling you, throw them out, you're going to still keep them. I know. And so
I know.
anyway, have a fabulous day. Thank you for joining us.